Hello everyone, welcome to Word Funk. I'm Leon Thomas, and I'm joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. How are you two feeling this week?
I got sick this week, actually. I mean, I know that, like, I was talking about how I came off with something when we recorded last. No, that turned out to be the start of something completely different. Yeah, so they just piggybacked on each other, and it was a fun picnic romp for me.
Okay.
It was gooey.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how gross is it?
Oh, right now I feel fine.
Oh.
And it was not as gross as it could have been.
Leon, you sounded disappointed. You're like, "Oh man, I thought we were gonna get to listen to your death rattle."
No, no. What I had before was gross, and I thought that was coming out, but it turns out that it was also the start of something new and beautiful. Yes, destruction as an act of creation.
Okay.
No, this week it was fever, really bad headache, body aches, and like sleeping for like 16 hours a day.
Johnny, for the person who definitely has the best body of any of us, how is your body also always so gross?
I don't know.
We've been casting pods for like 10 years at this point, which is a fucking whole other thing I can't look at directly because it's terrifying. But it seems like you're pretty much always like oozing.
I think it's that I don't get enough good sleep. Like that.
I mean, if that was the case, I would just be a pustule.
Like that seems to be the only thing that I can think of that's like, I mean, that would explain it. Because if you don't get good sleep, then just about every function you have physically depresses. Your ability to concentrate, your ability to make sense. Two things of which I'm sure the both of you are intimately familiar with.
No, Leon always talks about how good his sleep is, and he always holds it over us and brags about, "Oh, I sleep fine, and I'm great, and I'm never a weeping open sore."
Yeah,
that's what he says.
That's it. The only explanation I can come to is that it's probably sleep related. Also, I don't eat a lot of fruit, but I'm allergic to quite a lot of fruit. So,
like I do?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll just say this right now. I don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I should, but I don't.
Eat plenty of vegetables.
I believe
it. But nobody is ever like, "Oh, you feel the cold coming on? Eat this cabbage." Right. They're always like, "Have an orange." I mean, whatever. I take a vitamin C supplement, but it doesn't seem to extricate me from the peril the gooey, sticky peril that I find myself in so frequently. But
that explains why doctors are always giving out oranges.
Maybe.
You know how that always works.
I don't know if any of this tracks, though. From Florida, I eat oranges all the time. My family, we're very cabbagey people, the Ukrainians.
Yeah.
We're cabbagey people.
That's not even a joke. Like, half of the food I grew up with is just like, here's cabbage, but in a different way.
Right.
So,
I
don't know.
I have the same with potatoes. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you guys want to do any other fun national stereotypes?
I'm a bunch of things. I don't really feel like I don't take any kind of like immediate offense to like Irish or German or Welsh or Polish or
just a lot of whiteness in there, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of whiteness. Apparently, like distantly Haitian, but like it's so distant that it seems like disingenuous to even bring it up. I do have stuff I want to talk about this week.
Hell yeah, dude. Lay it on us.
I know that people are dying to know Chapter 2 of The Lady Who Won't Shut the Fuck Up.
I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
That's her official name on the Word Funk Wiki. Her character is going to be Lady Who Won't Shut the Fuck Up.
Well, the unfortunate thing is I learned her name.
I'm sure that when the meat wheel comes full circle, she'll get like some weird name, like like the Prophet of the Abyss or something like that, or the open maw of unending noise.
Jesus. So I actually have good news and bad news related to this saga. The bad news is that I've met her and she's terrible.
Right.
Oh no.
Her name is Colleen.
I don't know if we needed to know that. Beep.
No. I'm not telling. I don't know her full name or her address or her social security number. It's okay to say.
Wait, Colleen,
her first name.
I know that woman.
Right.
They're gonna triangulate you, Leon. I know you're on the run from the feds. They're gonna find you.
Her name is Colleen. I'm disappointed that I know this because it humanizes her.
Oh God!
When she introduced herself, I did not mention any of my names, and tried to avoid making eye contact because I think that's when they charge.
That's when they try
last
to.
night,
That's when they try
You're
to.
definitely gonna regret this 20 minutes after we record it, edit it all out. I can feel it.
No, I
In the
no.
middle of this podcast, is there going to be a thumping on your door that's like, Leon?
She doesn't know.
I know
she
you
definitely
didn't
doesn't.
give me your name, but I have learned it from the ether.
No.
I need a
so
beer, Leon.
Here's why I feel comfortable not being as forgiving and pleasant as I was about her situation last week. Last night, she woke me and everyone else up in the building by banging on David's door. If you'll remember, David is the one who has established.
This is part 2. This is a sequel episode. You need the backstory. It's important.
Yeah. David is the one who established clear boundaries that she does not want to respect.
Right, David's the one that lives downstairs, right?
Yep.
Whereas
this was at
the other one, I believe, is Kevin. Is that right?
No, it's oh crap, I forgot it. Frank.
Okay, right,
Frank. This was at 1 a.m. and it lasted till 2 a.m. Then she woke me and everyone else up at 5 a.m. by banging on Frank's door. And Frank, like I said, is the other one who still puts up with her mountainous bullshit.
So a double hit.
Yeah, she asked Frank for a beer at 5 a.m. because I think she got her a.m. and p.m. mixed up. Like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but, she's wrong. The other bit of bad news is that she's not some harmless old lady. Last week I was like, maybe she's just going through a thing. I feel kind of bad even bringing this up, but it's a bit on my mind. That was the narrative last week.
Right.
She
bless you for, hoping for the most, empathizable situation.
Yeah, no. She threatened to break David's windshield if he didn't open the door and give her money. Look, I feel like I have to handle this non-violently, obviously, and also I don't want to narc on her. So, but don't worry. There is an end goal here. You don't understand. The good news is she's leaving.
Oh.
That's what I'm talking about. This isn't something that was going to last for years.
Right.
Where I was like, should I even tell someone? What do I have
are
to do?
you talking in a metaphysical sense? She's leaving.
No.
As in
No.
Sugarcoat the fact that this woman is on death's door, essentially, and that's why she's like, well, time to just bang on everybody's doors in the building at 5 a.m. and ask for beers. Or
no, that's why. No, she has told 2 different people very loudly that she is leaving on the 31st. So that's the last day of the month. I assume that means she's either moving or being evicted. I don't care which. I'm just hoping to ride this out. I didn't get a good night's sleep last night. As we all know, that is unusual for me, and I don't care for it. But I feel like the best course of action is to just sort of wait this out. If she starts banging on my door, I'm going to yell at her until she goes, or ignore her.
A lot can happen in 3 weeks, Leon.
I know. Look, I'm not really going to yell at her. I just thought that would be good for the show. I'm just going to ignore her.
Leon, have you considered she knocks on your door, you sneak out the bathroom window, go around the complex, go to her door, and then you knock on that and you demand beer and money?
Listen, in all seriousness, I'm not going to say anything to this person. I'm not going to scream at her. I realize I'm being a jerk when I say that. I just thought that would be good for the show. Now, in all seriousness, I'm going to ignore this person for the next few weeks in hopes that when she leaves, she doesn't even think of me, and then my life will be okay. That's basically it. I don't like her, as it turns out.
Really? Don't like the old woman who goes around at like 5 o'clock in the morning, banging and yelling on people's doors and things like that? What a what a likable feature that is, Leon.
I was hoping she was just troubled. You know, like people have problems. I understand that, but she is actually threatening people, and she's mean spirited. So I have less sympathy now for what she's doing. And that's basically it. Yeah, that's basically what's going on with her. I just
what if
need
you
her
set up a box with like a stick holding up one end and a string, and inside there was like $1. And so she tries to knock on your door, sees the $1, and then you capture her, and then you release her in the woods like a raccoon or a possum.
Yeah, but then
Pretty good.
transport is an issue there, Austin. You know, so what I think you should probably do is instead of $1, have it like a mug of cold frosty beer.
Oh my god. That's my first of 2 topics. I'm going to pass the baton now to anyone who wants to jump in.
I had a weird experience this week.
Ooh, I love them.
I mean, like not like a weird experience where, you know, like I ran into somebody with 2 heads or something like that. I was like, how is that for you? But like I had, for the first time in my life, I had some music make me feel old.
Oh. Was it an old song or what?
No, it was not. Like,
Okay.
it was. I mean, you probably won't know this guy that I'm talking about, but I'm Leon. But I'll throw it to Austin here. Austin, have you heard of Hobo Johnson and the Love Makers?
I don't think so. No, that rings 0 bells.
Okay.
It sounds like a joke name for a band that we would come up with.
Well,
Yeah,
The story-
we're like, oh, that's a good episode title.
Apparently, the story is that the lead, the front man for Hobo Johnson, was at one point in time kicked out of his father's house and was forced to like live in his car because he didn't want to do a regular thing. He wanted to pursue his music career. And it's like, I got like all respect for the hustle, you know, like if you're gonna bust your ass and take the hard knocks and do all of that just because you want to pursue your art, I gotta give it up to you, like golf clap style at the very least, to be like, yeah, I mean, you do you chase that, you go right ahead. But like, the funny thing about it is that like I'm nearly 39. I am turning 39 this month, as a matter of fact. And in all the time I've been alive, I've come across like a variety of different styles of music, particularly in the last few years, that just don't ring my bell, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I've never once been like, I don't understand what these kids are listening to these days. It's like trap music, for example. I don't enjoy trap, but I get why people enjoy trap music. I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, like there's particularly some geographical significance to it, some economic significance to it. And I understand the formula of being like, hey, what if we like made music but it was like all the hook? I'm like, okay, on paper, I understand why you might want to do that, but it just...
That was a really interesting way of saying, wow, I'm really white, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I get that. You know, I'm not going to pretend I'm somebody I'm not, you know, but I'm, like, it's, the thing is that, like, this kind of music, dub music, has never made me feel like, oh, my bones are aching. But I came across some music just by like chance coincidence in my Twitter feed of Hobo Johnson performing at NPR's Tiny Desk concert. And it's not even like the music is... It's essentially like ostensibly it's rap, although it kind of it bears more similarity to what I would call spoken word poetry, just with kind of like musical backing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like I was listening to this one song that is called Crève Cœur 1. I don't know why you would like... Because he pronounces it on the show, and he's like, hey, this song is called Crèvecoeur. And I'm like, no, it's not. Why would you name your fucking song French words if you didn't know how to pronounce it? That is like the very definition of pretentiousness. But But like I was listening to this song, and just right out of the gate, I was like, "That's a young man's pain." Like listening to this guy rap, I was like, dude. I used to write stuff like this when I was like 19-ish, except, with different cultural references, because at one point in time he describes this girl he's talking about as like a Skrillex song that never drops. And I was just like I hate it. And
Johnny, what?
I hate it. And for a second there I was like, okay, well, Tiny Desk concerts aren't necessarily the best way to get someone's vibe. Maybe somebody's nervous and they're playing in a very small space and they don't have all the things that maybe they need to do in order for their artistic values to come through properly. So I went on YouTube and I looked up a bunch of music from this one album he has called The Rise of Hobo Johnson, and I hate it. I hated all of it. I hated every single second of it, because it sounded so young. Do you know that? I don't know. Maybe this is just me getting older or something like this. There kind of comes a point in time where someone starts talking about certain experiences in their life as being this is the worst possible thing that could have happened to anyone, and it's oh no, you wait, because you may not know it right now, but we've all been there, and it gets worse.
Everything you just said, but Fortnite.
Yeah, okay. I get that, and I mean, like I said, I respect the hustle, and I can respect somebody just wanting to grab their dreams and stuff like that. But oh my god, I hate this band so much. It digs into me. At one point in time, he says, sometimes you drive a car and you just lose control. And I'm like, no, that doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
You're not just...
Sounds like your fault.
I have really bad news about most song lyrics for you, Johnny.
I know, okay? I mean, I know. But like I said, this, at the same time, I hated it. And then I recognized that I was like, oh my god, do I hate this because I'm old?
We're all old. We're all dying.
God, I could not abide by this boy's music.
Okay.
And apparently he's in his mid-20s. And I was making much better stuff. I was writing way better stuff by then, at least by my own standards. But oh my god,
Johnny, what I was about to say was, teenagers, they all, this isn't like a condemnation, it's just the way it is. Teenagers kind of have Romeo and Juliet disease. They think that everything is super dramatic. It's just part of that life. But if he's in his mid-20s, then I guess there's less of a. I don't really have an argument.
As this show's resident young person, I want to weigh in here and say,
tell me.
Sometimes you just do your best because you got to pay the bills, and I'm sure he's, also hard on his own work. He's trying his best. And also, why you gotta be so mean? We're all trying, Johnny.
This is this is the thing, is that I'm not gonna go out on a limb here. I'm not gonna make the declaration that Hobo Johnson makes terrible music, because I'm sure he speaks to someone. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who are really loving the fact that they can either relate to his insights or even his age or whatever emotions he's going through or anything like that. So I'm not I don't like to say that something is bad, but I will not shy away from saying I hate it.
That's fine.
I wish podcasts existed when I was a teenager because I want to go back and listen to what people were saying about like Linkin Park or whatever the stuff I grew up with. I know we're in different age brackets, but just like to hear some crusty old fucks just being like, these kids and their nickeled back, what is going on here?
Okay, first of all, these kids and their nickeled back, or we're wrong. And also,
I mean, yeah, fair.
I haven't heard modern Linkin Park, but I as a person who was in the demographic at that time, I guess for their music, I wasn't a fan of their all that.
I had no
how
taste
that
for it.
sounded.
It was. It's a great impersonation. Johnny, while you were talking, I thought it acceptable if I would click on YouTube and look up Hobo Johnson, and I listened to 30 seconds of his talk speak. And it was not. Yeah, I mean, I feel you. I haven't listened to enough of it to give really a greater impression than that, but it is. I can tell it is immediately not for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine, I guess.
Yeah. I just, it made me, like I said, it made me feel old. Not because I feel like, the musical stylings of the time are outpacing me, but because I was like, oh wow, like somebody has a powerful new voice in like independent rap, and he just sounds like a toddler to me. Like he just sounds like a 14-year-old. And I mean, it's not like that's a new thing necessarily, because I sort of felt the same way about Korn when they were at the height of their popularity. That I was like,
they also went rah.
Well, yes, they did. But because a lot of the time Korn rapped about like how terrible high school was, and high schoolers lap that shit up. But I realized at the time, I was like, you guys are like 30. Isn't it time to like
30?
Leave that shit behind? So
I don't know. I mean, everyone has their trauma, and maybe some people are still processing it. But at the same time, like it seems clear that there is like an intended audience if you're in your 30s and you're writing about, and that's okay. Like there are like 30, 40-year-old young adult writers who are writing stories for high schoolers, and that's perfectly fine. You don't.
I was gonna say, like, there's actually been a pretty large influx of like, especially young rappers recently. I think a lot of the trap stuff comes from people who are particularly young in like the SoundCloud scene. But even I don't know, like a decade ago, like when Tyler the Creator and Earl Sweatshirt and those guys are coming up, like their first mixtapes, they were 18, 19.
I will raise you one and tell you that when I was in high school, one of the biggest jams of a year was called Bop by a band called Hanson.
Yeah, I mean pop music and those kind
I'm pretty sure that two of those guys' testicles hadn't even dropped yet.
Manufactured boy bands are one thing, although I understand Hanson is actually musically talented. I don't actually follow them. But...
I mean, they still tour like worldwide, and a number of women that I know that I went to high school with go and see them and squeeze their hearts out and bless them. Have fun.
That's fun.
Is Young Thug young?
I mean, there's a lot of rappers with young in their name, and honestly, I cannot vouch for any of their ages specifically.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. I forget. Is Korn is one of the ones that went but were they also the one that went ooh waka waka?
No,
right,
you're thinking of Disturbed.
Let's do our best Korn impressions, which we can do because we're all.
I just did it. That was it. But me doing Disturbed as Korn was it for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Disturbed
that's as far
as I can go.
That's Disturbed.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Disturbed once did a cover. Jesus. Okay. This was great. I'm glad we went here.
Were you trying to say that Disturbed once did a cover of a Phil Collins song? Because they sure did.
No. They well, if they did, that's cool. But they did a cover of a Simon and Garfunkel song that I like.
They went through a bunch of like, wouldn't it be funny if we if we did this song?
Yeah, but it turns out it wasn't funny. It was just really good.
Yeah. Honestly,
they're not promise.
Yeah, some of their stuff's okay.
By the way, this is not an invitation for people to jump into the comment section of YouTube and be like, "But have you heard this Hobo Johnson song?" Because
nobody can stop you. We're not the cops.
Care.
No, I can.
Okay.
I literally can.
Speaking of young people and new metal, Avenged Sevenfold were like 17 when they got signed, and they're just. I mean, you could say what you want about their later output.
Silverchair was a big deal too, you know.
Yeah,
and they actually put an album out that I enjoyed.
I'm 28? I've accomplished fucking nothing. I have no skills, so maybe we're assholes.
I'm doing great.
You're also like 48.
I'm 36.
Same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Austin, you I'm sure have a topic. Go for it. If you don't, that's okay because I have another one.
I always do. I got a fucking treasure trove of topics. I got a Santa's sack. I have big Jinko jeans. With
Show
big
me your
pockets.
sack, Austin.
Here's my sack, Johnny. I played some video games. I think quick Stellaris update is I did after last week go back and finish up the game, I guess, the campaign or whatever.
I saw that prideful tweet.
Yeah.
Where you sent them back to their extra dimensional nook.
I murdered them is what happened. The final boss aliens showed up and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna fight you." And at first I was like, I don't really want to do this, and then I did. And actually, it was more fun than I thought. They were more powerful and more dynamic a threat than most of the fights I had been in up till that point, where most of the game was like, is my army's number bigger? If yes, then fight. If no, then don't fight. For them, I actually had to use more, I don't know if tactics is the right word, but you had to be careful not to get like teamed up on. They would like sometimes kind of like try to draw you into a fight that looked advantageous but wasn't, and then gank you from another system. They were really aggressive about attacking like my Federation fleets that I wasn't micromanaging. It was more thoughtful and pretty satisfying ultimately to win. And I like Stellaris a lot. I think it's there are a lot of slow periods in it that are probably not great for the average person. I can't make decisions for you and how you run your life, but I think you have to be the kind of person for whom managing economies sounds like your idea of fun.
Yeah, playing the long game is not a metaphor here.
Yeah, it took me something like 50 hours to complete it. So another thing was
So you're gonna download ST New Horizons and we're gonna play the Star Trek total. Right?
Oh Lord, I don't know. I mean, I think it needed a break. I just thought it was interesting. The game didn't technically end when I beat the final boss aliens. There was like an arbitrary date that declared the winner, and whoever had the highest score, and like a score was like a combination of a bunch of different factors that were like mathematically graded. And I actually was like in third place for a long time, but beating all those final boss aliens is worth like infinity points, and so it catapulted me to first place, and then I won when the date rolled around. So. The scoring system seems a little weird. It's like, can you imagine if real politics were like that? It's like, Germany had a really good month. Their scores are off the charts. We got to give it up. They win. They just win existing as a nation. Well, I don't know. That was a weird thing. I think probably a holdover from other titles, maybe.
The problem that you have with 4X games is that, finding an actual end without trying to attach like a narrative to the game is quite difficult to do.
Yeah, I know like in Civ games it was like whoever leaves Earth, I think, like if you build a rocket.
There's a bunch of different victory conditions for Civ. You can either conquer like but most of the other civilizations, have like most of the world fall under your territory domain. If you're the first person to leave Earth and like fly to another star system, in some versions there's also UN victories where you can be like elected chairman of the United Nations.
Yeah, I was
like almost all Paradox games, the victory condition is survive. So like Crusader Kings, you have to make it through like the Middle Ages, and it's just like, boy, I hope your family's still alive. And that's how you win the game. You don't have to like conquer Europe or anything like that. You just kind of like, your lineage has to survive in some form of power when like the Enlightenment comes or something.
Yeah, it really kind of shines the light on how history is not really a narrative as so much as it is a random haphazard assortment of events, and we kind of pick and choose which ones we think are important and related.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was funny that there's a part in the game where it was like, we've established a galactic market and someone's going to be the market leader. And it doesn't really explain what that means. And I was like, well, my guys aren't military. I'm a pacifist organization, so I guess I'll be the market leader. I wonder what that does. And it wasn't even clear to me what it did even after I won it. Apparently, I think I figured out it just kind of gives you like 10% off when trading, which is not how markets work. But that system didn't seem particularly deep.
But you don't have any of the expansions for Stellaris, do you?
I don't think so. No.
Nah, because they're working up to a whole bunch of like mega corporation stuff right now. It's looking interesting.
Yeah, I saw there was like a bunch of stuff on for sale, but then I saw like there was things in my game which looked like they were part of that. So I don't know. Maybe
they're weird. They will update their game mechanics, but then there are like certain things that are just sort of like, oh no, to access this part of the game, you have to have the expansion pack. So like, I don't know if that market leader thing, which I have not yet encountered playing a game of Stellaris, it's been a while, might have something to do with that or something else, but
yeah, game design's weird, especially for like expansions and DLC. You have to kind of design like hooks, is I think like the term for it, that like the way these things hook together.
Like that mission in the original Dragon Age where you show up at camp.
Yes,
and that dude with the NPC with his wagon, who's like, "Oh, I hear there's this really great castle up in the mountains." You'd be like, "Where is it?" He's like, "Well, if you buy the DLC, I'll tell you."
Yeah, I know.
Which was like the verbatim dialogue, pretty much.
Yeah, so video games are weird.
One of the things I like about Stellaris, though, is that if you play a game of Stellaris with me, you get access to all the DLC that I've bought.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, the great thing about Stellaris is it's really fun when you play it with me personally, Johnny Maloney.
No, if I've got all the DLC packs, which I think I do, and you and I decide to play a multiplayer game together, it doesn't hamstring me. Instead, it lifts you up. And says, okay, so for this game, Austin, you're going to get access to all the DLC that Johnny has. And I like that.
Because if like your universe generates and you have like a shadow nation that I can't interact with, that'd be weird. That's like a fighting game.
And it would be dumb for me if I had spent all this money on this DLC. If I logged into a game, but then of the 4 players, one guy doesn't have any, so it was like, oh, okay, everybody, we're all playing vanilla Stellaris again.
Yeah.
So even if I buy it, no matter what, I always have access to it online, and I like that philosophy.
Speaking of philosophy, Leon, you're something of a philosopher on YouTube. That's my segue to not have to talk anymore. You talk now. Bye.
Wow. I don't know if I want to take on that particular title, but I do have another topic that is completely unrelated to that. So I have recently experienced extremely horny Mitch Pileggi, and I want to tell you guys about it.
Do tell.
This Austin, you might be a little too young for this, but you also just might have known about it anyway.
I hate all the words you're saying.
I know. It's bad. This was a thing when I was a kid. Are you aware of the old show Breaking the Magician's Code? Magic's Biggest Secrets Finally Revealed.
That's on Canadian Netflix.
Yeah, it's on American Netflix too.
I haven't watched it, but I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. You probably didn't watch it as it aired, as we all did as a nation, holding hands back then. But you probably know about it. Cool. Okay, so there isn't too much to tell you about it, but for the audience, in case you are unaware, back in the 90s, there was this show, and it was called that, and it's a very long title. And the premise was that a masked magician was going to reveal a bunch of secrets of how they do magic tricks on television. And this was like taboo because other magicians didn't want you to do that because that would mess up their business. Understandable. He basically, every episode was like 10 or 12 different tricks and how they did it. And it was like, look, they're not really cutting the lady in half. And I'm like, what? You're not a necromancer. And that was every episode. And I recently rewatched it because a friend of mine mentioned it, that it was on Netflix. I'm like, I have time. It's fine. I just had it playing in the background. It was mostly listening to the narration. And what I forgot about it was that the narration was done by X-Files' own Mitch Pileggi, who played Assistant Director Skinner on the show that we all love. So here's the thing,
Leon.
So anyway, Mitch Pileggi is the narrator for the show, but he's not playing Skinner, or I assume even a version of himself. He's playing an extremely horny man. It's very strange, and I was not prepared for it. Every time, basically, you know, Magic. There's usually like women assistants, and they're dressed in outfits, and the outfits reveal a lot of skin. And every time that the women would show up, Mitch Pileggi would have some sort of comment about them, like in voiceover narration. He's not there.
Would he groan? Oh. He would say
things like a woman is going to be like cut in half, as a magic trick, and then Mitch Pileggi says, "But don't worry, her body's going to be just fine." and then when the trick is over, he says, "Thank goodness those abs are okay." Like, what? Every single time he would say something like this. Like, I mean, what I was wondering as I was watching was, first of all, ew. And second of all, like, was he just reading from a script? Like, was he just like saying, "Hey, Mitch, we want you to be like horned up to 11 for this show. It's just like a thing we're going to do." And Mitch was like, "Fine, whatever, you're paying me, so I will do this." Or was it a thing where, like, "Mitch, I want you to just kind of like improv here, like I'm going to show you this, and maybe you just make a comment." And everything that came into Mitch's brain had to do with his erection. It's weird and gross, but it's also hysterical because it's so fucking cheesy when it happens. And the thing is, like I said, he's not there next. Like, he's not like in doing the magic tricks with the masked magician. He's voiceover. He's like the voice of God, like undressing these women with his eyes. And like each time he would have all these like dumb puns and stuff, and they were all sexually related. I watched like the first, there were like a few specials, and then at the end of, I think like the fourth or fifth special, the masked magician takes off his mask, and he says, "It is I, Valentino." And I'm like, I've seen this before, and I'm still thinking, who? So, and then there were more specials that aired, but for some of the other specials that aired many years later, it wasn't Mitch Pileggi anymore.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
It was very disappointing. But here's the thing. The new narrator was also horny. So this was just a thing that they had to do. Mitch Pileggi,
look, Leon, if you don't know by now that magic is an extremely horny art, then...
It is. But then, and I could be wrong about this, because I started watching even later, because it came back like about a decade ago. And I could be wrong,
he had
but
a
I
comic
think
book too.
Yeah, there was this was a franchise. It just wasn't a consistent franchise. It would be gone for many years and then it would come back. And I think Mitch was in one of the recent ones too. I could be wrong, but it was someone who sounded like Mitch Pileggi who was also really horny, and I stopped. Because I had enough. I already learned enough about how magic works. And also, I don't really need all of that in my life. The weird thing is, like, instead of, after he took off his mask, like I said, there were more episodes. But instead of all the future episodes with just Valentino or another magician, it would also just be a guy under a mask. Or it would be the same mask as before. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, is this for branding, or do you think we forgot? It was weird. It's not like a long series to watch, though. It's not like, you don't have to commit yourself to it. So, like, if you have, like, nothing to do and you just want something to play in the background, it was actually very, it was comforting to watch, I guess you could say. It had just the right bit of, like, nostalgia where, like, I kind of remember this, but also I remember nothing about this. So it was basically new too. That's the sweet spot. That's the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, you get all the feelings and none of the boardom.
Right.
Speaking of voiceovers that make you horny.
Oh,
I hate this already.
Well, this is something that I just discovered the other week. Did you guys know that Jeff Bridges released an ASMR sleep tape?
I saw it on Twitter a couple times, including from you, but I haven't listened.
Yeah. So, like, anybody can access this at www.dreamingwithjeff.com.
I love that you said www beforehand.
Yeah, HTTP : //.
No, it's / Austin. Let's be.
You know what I mean. Fuck off.
Yeah, but it's like it's really just fucking Jeff Bridges like talking you to sleep.
There's been a lot of old Hollywood actors, maybe not all old, but just like established names trying to get extremely online. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Jack Black has a video game YouTube show. Jeff Goldblum's up to all kinds of fucking social media shenanigans.
Doesn't he have like a cooking show on YouTube or some shit?
Everyone does. Yeah. All these fucking multi-millionaire A-list celebrities are suddenly trying to fucking hove in on like the last bastions of independent like content creation online, and it majorly sucks.
Here's the thing, is that this sleep tape is actually really good.
That's the thing. I haven't watched it. I'm sure Jack Black's Let's Play channel is fine too.
It's like it's super relaxing, and you can hear him get like in his chair, and he's like, "Hey, sleep tapes, sleep, which suggests waking up. Tapes, which suggest a record."
Okay, I can barely hear you, but I assume that's on purpose.
Yeah. But and he tells these weird like little short stories. And there's even a bit where he fictionalizes taking a trip through IKEA with you. And it's like it put me to sleep. It really did. I was like, "Thanks, Jeff."
Who told him about ASMR? I feel like that someone did a fucking prank on him. I just don't feel like
he has the perfect voice for it. He really does. I mean,
I don't think rich people should be allowed to know about ASMR. Famous people shouldn't be allowed to know about podcasts. Like that, those are ours. Can't we have something?
No.
But so if you're having trouble going to sleep, go to dreamingwithjeff.com and let Jeff Bridges just talk you into oblivion.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
No.
Oh, hey, Austin, I watched Bird Box this week.
Why are you addressing that to me specifically? Because I'm the other Netflix guy?
Yeah.
I also watched it.
I have not. I have no interest in it, so feel free to spoil it if you guys want to talk about it.
What did you think, Leon?
I like it. I enjoy. I have a very weird thing where I like movies where a bunch of strangers who have like one personality trait are for some reason stranded in a house or a building or a room together and have to figure shit out. And there is a series of unusual rules they have to follow.
Yeah.
You would be surprised how many movies there are just like that, but are completely different from one another in every other way. This ticked all those boxes. Bird Boxes, in fact. It was good and bad, but I liked it. The movie is about, for anyone who hasn't seen it and wants to know, the movie is about like the world is ending because people are transmitting either a disease or a mental illness or some sort of thing that makes them.
No, the story is that there are actually things.
Yeah, well,
and this is fantastic because I read a story about how they were going to show how there was an entire creature mock-up of one of these things that was causing people to take this condition, but then like they got it on set and absolutely everybody on the cast and crew was like, That looks terrible.
Well, no, I mean, in my mind, if they gave us an idea of exactly what was going on and exactly who was doing this, it wouldn't be interesting anymore.
I agree. Like, I think it's way better to not show the creature, or if you're going to, do it, like, very briefly, like Babadook style. You know, like, just these little flashes where it's kind of like, what the fuck was that? But
yeah,
apparently they were going to show it on screen, but they got the prosthetic, they got the model on set, and everybody just started laughing. Because it looked like, I think the descriptor that I read was, it looked like one giant long green baby, and it was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen.
Oh my. Basically, everyone is losing their minds and becoming extremely violent, and people can't figure out why, but they do know that when you look at the world, that makes it happen, or you look at someone else and that makes it happen, and it's basically looking is a problem.
It's supposed to be looking at these things.
Right. I get that, like, in a sense, but also I would prefer, like, that isn't even confirmed in my mind.
All right.
That like the idea, like, at the end, like, the reason this is happening because you're looking at these particular creatures, but they're sort of invisible. Like, no, fuck all that. I like the idea that people are becoming crazy because the more you look at the world, the more you realize how bad it is.
I mean, I can read into that, sure.
Yeah, in my mind, that's more fun. So I prefer my bad headcanon over what is definitely not.
No, it's not a bad headcanon, Leon. It's a just fine.
Yeah, but anyway, these people are all in a place, and one of them is a jerk, and one of them is possibly like expecting a baby, but she doesn't know if she wants the baby, and someone is expecting a baby and she does want a baby. There's just, there's a lot of personality types that are in this house, and they have to figure out how to survive and get, food and shit, and that's the movie more or less. It's more complicated than that, and yeah, they can't look at stuff. I mean, it's good. I enjoy.
They can look at, but not other stuff.
Yeah, they can't look outside, basically. So that's the movie. It's called Bird Box because the birds will tell you if the bad things are around. So they put them in a box, and then they brought them with them on a journey. And apparently, like, I watched it, like, yeah, that was pretty good, and a surprisingly good cast for a movie that just sort of came out of nowhere, and it's on Netflix.
I thought the acting was one of the more powerful things in the movie, honestly. Like, I enjoyed watching the actors do their things way more than I enjoyed the premise.
I love John Malkovich because he always sounds like he's about to ask for your manager, no matter what part he's playing. I'm into that.
Yep. It makes me want to see Trevant Williams, or Trevant Rhodes, pardon me, get more work.
Okay.
Who was a guy who played Tom. He was also in Moonlight.
Yeah. He was very good. I enjoyed it, and when I watched it, I was like, that's cool. I wonder what other people thought about it. And it has, like, extremely mixed reviews, and it's like, that's fine. But, like, I'm not sure what are the major criticisms of it. I didn't want to dig too deep into that. I just know I liked it, and I didn't. I'm not going to make an episode on it, so I don't have to think about it too hard,
some of the pacing was a little weird. I get that. There are these moments where they're like, and I understand why they did it the way that they did, because one of the major points of the movie is that at one point in time, the main character and some children have to basically row down a river blindfolded for what ostensibly is a couple of days. And if you were going to do the movie start to finish and just have this giant chunk of the movie in the middle there where they're just blindfolded in a boat, it wouldn't have worked. So there's a lot of jumping back and forth that they wind up doing, and that kind of fusses a little bit with the emotional continuity of the movie, and it messes the pacing up a little bit. But if you consider the alternative, it's much, much smarter to do it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as well. I went in with, like, absolutely no expectations because a lot of people have been like, Bird Box, Bird Box, Bird Box. And I was like, whatever. Just a box full of birds. How weird can it be?
Yeah. I assumed, and here's how dumb I am. I heard it's like kind of like a horror movie. It's like, oh, it's called Bird Box. I bet the monsters are birds, and it's not. It's not at all. I thought that there was. All I saw was like the poster, and it was called Bird Box. I'm like, I bet I know what this is going to be about. It's going to be about a blind lady, and she's attacked by birds, and she has to save her children, and that's the movie. And it's like, no, it's actually weird. Yeah, I liked it. I hope other people do. It's on the Netflix.
Entertaining.
Yeah. Austin, we have a few minutes. If you have any other topics, jump right in. If not, that's okay. I have like one small one.
I'm full of topics. I played another video game besides
show me your
Stellaris.
topics, Leon.
What'd you say?
I know. I said, show me your topics, Austin.
Okay. Woo! Spring break. Look at my topics. Here they are. You couldn't see. There was a physical aspect of that joke that did not come across on the.
Well, that's why they call things that you apply to the skin topicals.
Christ! I played a game called Iconoclasts. Have either of you heard of it?
I haven't even heard of it. No.
So Iconoclast is a Metroidvania. I know some people don't like that term, but everyone agrees on what it means. So you lost that fight. So it's a game where it's a 2D puzzle action game. You have the main character is this girl who has a big wrench, and she solves puzzles involving blocks and switches, and it's pretty throwback, honestly, in a lot of ways. And I'm not crazy about that aspect of it, but I think the cool thing is that it has the most bizarre world building of any game I've played in a long time. Yeah, it's. So they don't really come in and explain a lot, which is good. It has almost, I know everyone fucking hates this. I'm sorry, I'm a bad person, but it has this almost Dark Souls-esque thing where a lot of stuff's kind of just mentioned, and then it's like, I don't know, make a lore video trying to piece it together, asshole, fuck you. There's like this weird religion, and there's this like substance that is a fuel, but also it turns you into like a superhuman, and some of the people have like regenerating powers, and maybe it's not even on Earth, and like there's a lot of weird terminology for stuff, and that's really what kept me playing, because if it was just the mechanics, like I'm not crazy about Metroidvanias. Like I like Super Metroid and Symphony of the Night 5.
There's a lot of really bad ones out there.
We're in the kind of middle of a revival, and there's some really good ones. I haven't played it myself, but I hear Hollow Knight is extraordinary, and there's a lot of stuff that was kickstarted. Even the Castlevania guy is like making a spiritual successor. Yeah. So it's kind of a boom time for the genre. I could not hear you, Johnny.
Nothing.
Doesn't okay. It does matter. Everything you says matter. You're important to me, Johnny.
Aw, thank you. That makes me feel valued and heard.
But your audio setup
even though you
sucks,
didn't hear me.
So.
Look, my audio has two settings, all right? Way too fucking loud or gone.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what... So the person who made it, he goes by Konjak, Konjak. His name is Joachim Sandberg. He's Swedish, and I know he's done a bunch of freeware games. Noitu Love and Noitu Love 2, which is the word evolution backwards, are the games that I am aware of that he has done. I know we had a writer, Gabe, at Blister Thumbs, who wrote about those games when they came out, wherever they did. I don't know if they were retail releases. I'm pretty sure they were free. But it's that guy. He's a really talented pixel artist. I know a lot of people are tired of the pixel style too. It's like it's a conflux of things that people like but are kind of tired of. Metroidvania, pixel art, Dark Souls comparisons. It's like a perfect combination of all these things. But this game is really like recent. I'm just looking at the page now. It came out in 2018, in January for most systems, and then in August for Switch. So it's actually a pretty new game. I got it for free on PlayStation Plus, although not free because I pay for PlayStation Plus, but you know what I mean. So I had fun with it, but it's mostly for the really strange, interesting world, and not so much for the gameplay, which is fine. It's like, one of those bad old games like Mega Man. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I'm just trying to... He didn't respond.
No, I don't think he's listening.
Oh, dang. I don't...
He'll hear it in the edit.
I'm right here. I just,
If only he would rise to my provocations, but alas, he's not listening to us at all. So yeah, this is me talking to myself at this point because none of you guys have played this game or heard of it. It's just a really strange genre exercise that I'm glad I finished it, even if I wasn't really having fun for a lot of it. It's also it looks really good. There's a lot of pixel art out there, but not a lot that makes you feel like when you played like Final Fantasy VI for the first time. It doesn't look like Final Fantasy VI. It looks more like, Symphony of the Night, but it kind of evoked the feelings the first time I played Final Fantasy VI, where I was like, these aren't cutting edge, but they look good. There's a satisfaction to like the way these graphics look, and it's kind of hard to explain why. But you ever see a good pixel, Johnny?
I all the time. My mechanic has quite a number of good pixel pinups actually in his garage.
I have no idea.
Some real classics.
All right, so do you guys want to do questions, or do you want to do your short thing? Can you do it, Leon?
Oh, I just wanted to say real quick. Okay, I didn't watch Trump's speech.
Oh, here we go.
Why would I? I know everything he's saying is
Let me get the shovel.
But here's the thing. Like, immediately after he said his garbage, Speaker Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader, I should say, Chuck Schumer, did like a response. And when they were doing it, maybe it's just because of how far left I've gone, but when they were doing it, I was like, are these really like his opposites? Like, are these like the most like ideologically opposed people, like who you would think would give like the best response to this? I mean, they're the most visible, and that's why they're doing.
But they did dunk on his dad.
That's fine too. I mean, look, and they're the most visible, and I get that's why they're doing it. But like, I don't know, that just gives like America the impression that like, okay, now we're hearing both sides, the far right authoritarian demagogue and two established centrists, and it's like those are like the two things, but basically by setting it up that way, like that's the impression that we get. I realize that in order to have like Trump's opposite on TV, you'd have to like bring in like a far left masked prison abolitionist to do it.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know. I guess that's just like a thing that's bothering me. I don't have a point beyond that. I just wanted to get that out and throw that into the ether.
They are paying a lot of attention to Ocasio-Cortez, though.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, but they're not. But that's.
But not in a
she's not
legitimizing
getting-
way where we're like, oh, yes, a serious thinker. They're like, look at this crazy girl. She thinks she knows the big thoughts.
You guys all remember that when Trump first announced his candidacy for presidency, everybody was like, look at this crazy motherfucker. He thinks he's going to be president.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. The
There's a difference in the electorates, right? Because the people who follow the Conservative Party are like, oh, yes, this person is wildly unhinged and idiotic, just like me, I shall vote for them. Or on the left, we're like, yes, this person is very exciting, but she doesn't meet this one criteria that's important to me, so I'm definitely going to vote for this other person you've never heard of.
Yeah. All right, I just wanted to throw that out there. I hope that's something. I am now ready for questions.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on, honestly, on the false dichotomy of American fucking electoralism, but I was thinking this the other day, Leon, and I'm sorry that you've put us here and that I'm making it worse. But
we can keep going.
I was definitely thinking when I heard that Biden
really
was
sorry,
exploring...
Austin?
Yeah, what's up?
I said, are you really sorry?
Yes. When I heard that Biden was exploring a potential presidential campaign, it occurred to me that Trump has very much obscured the realities of like the political elite. What I mean by that is, if he wasn't out there doing his thing, I think there would be a realization, at least among people who agree with us, that wow, there are a lot of monsters at the top, right? But when Trump is out there, it's just like all this focus is on him, because by comparison, no one else seems monstrous. Which is my way of saying that Joe Biden is one of the most evil people in politics, but he seems downright soft and cuddly compared to Trump, and I don't know what to do with that energy, right?
What you do with that energy is you vote for someone in the primary who you think would actually be good, and if that doesn't work out, you vote for Joe Biden in the general.
What you mean is when that doesn't work out? Yeah, we had this. We literally had these conversations in 2015, 2016.
One step back from the brink is still one step back from the brink. You're still on the cliff's edge.
Like, look, here's almost certainly what's going to happen. And I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. But what's going to happen is come election day, someone, either Trump is going to win and I'll cry a lot, or some Democrat who is just probably either Joe Biden or someone close enough to Joe Biden will win. And I'll say, good enough. And then the next day I'll go back to criticizing.
Yeah. You can do that.
That's life right now.
And people wonder why progressives aren't more excited about voting, right? And it's because the most we can look forward to is like, well, it could be worse.
Yeah, it definitely could. That's
I think the last 2 years have proved that to you guys very, very distinctly.
Yeah. I vote strategically. I try to do what I can that will cause the least harm, and that's like such a shitty way that life is, but it's also, I
am as okay with slow swings of the pendulum as I am quick ones.
I don't know about all that. I'm just
a step in the right direction, as far as I'm concerned, is still a step in the right direction.
Of course, be for good things, be against bad things, as I often say. It's just wild sometimes, guys. I'm wilding out here. Anyway, questions. You ready for them?
No, but that's never stopped us before.
That's true.
Oh, hold on. One more thing. Nancy Pelosi said all lives matter when she was...
That's what I'm talking about!
And she can fucking kiss my entire ass.
These fucking goblins. We have to pretend like we're on their team, and I hate them.
Yeah. All right, sorry. Just wanted to throw that out there because that made me sick. Ready.
Joe Biden should be in jail. First question is from New Year, same sad boy, at Cody L. Ralston on Twitter, who asks, so, that Pottermore tweet, huh?
Oh, God, yeah. Look, not that I was ever into Harry Potter. When I saw that, I was just like, I was like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Their poops are magic, okay? Everything about them is magic, so their poops are obviously magic too. They learned how to do their thing, and then someone said plumbing, and that apparently, and I could be wrong about this. Apparently, this was not a revelation. It was just a tweet recently. Apparently, this was known among Harry Potter fanatics for a long time. It's just that, like, we as people who have maybe seen some of it. And I think Austin has read them.
I've read all the books literally like 3 or 4 times.
Hell yeah. Cool, dude.
Toilets are an important plot point in several of the books. There's a ghost who hangs out in one of the toilets, and there's also a long scene of them like taking fucking magic potions in the bathroom. So bathrooms are an established part of the Harry Potter universe, although apparently a recent invention if you weren't aware of the tweet.
Yeah. So... yeah, I don't really know what much more to say about that except J.K. Rowling sucks. But like in terms of like what do I have to say about poop? Nothing much, but then the usual.
I have an uncommonly large amount of things to say about poop, but I'll save that for my own private podcast, Dump Hour.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were just gonna call it the Poop Cast, and I was like, come on, Johnny, you have better material than that. This is actually a great opportunity. I think we should all take a moment and once again discuss how bad most mainstream speculative fiction is, and specifically in the realm of lore. I think lore should be illegal. I think there should be 2 cells in a supermax prison, and one of them Joe Biden, and then the other lore as a concept. It's very bad. No one should have any lore.
Okay. I don't even know what to say about that.
I don't think you should. I think there should be a cutoff point for lore. All right, like there should come a point in time where if you're successful enough, it's like, okay, no more. Like you're not allowed to add anything else to that. because
I mean that's a different thing. That's just like she's really bored, and like the money has brought her no spiritual satisfaction, and because we live in a diseased society, we have
like to call it
from her
the George Lucas effect.
Yeah, him too. Although apparently he gives generously. I just think that maybe she would have more satisfaction in her life if she was taxed more aggressively. She needs to stop writing. But I'm talking about capital L lore, the kind of stuff that gets put in grimoire cards in Destiny, or you have to look on the wiki to find out. That needs to go.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. Fucking, I think anything that happens that requires me to like buy a comic book and read what's gonna happen in the next chapter of your video game. No, you can go to hell. Because guess what? You could have just told me in the video game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's having a fucking acidic effect on people's relationship with storytelling and the need to have an answer to everything. No one can be just okay with ambiguity or even something that is there and you just have to think about it a little bit. Everyone has to go to the fucking YouTube channel where they spoon feed it to you or whatever. It's driving me insane. Maybe I'm the problem. I'm the only one whose brain is bad and everyone else is right. Maybe I don't know anymore.
I just want to self-contain. Like if I pick a book up, I want to be able to get everything I need to know about that book in that book.
Or sometimes the things that are missing on purpose.
Yeah, that too.
I think we just need to get more comfortable with not knowing. I think it's like, you know what it is? And I realize this is like a psychology 101 take, but I feel like it's because people have so little control over their lives. Our understanding of the universe has been shaped by like modern technology and the internet and cable news and everything to realize how insignificant we are. We have no power. Nothing we do matters. It's all giant corporations.
Get used to it.
But I'm saying this feels like one thing we can have control. People are like, oh, if I don't like a thing an author did, I'll just go harass them on Twitter. And I'll just, send death threats to George R.R. Martin telling him to finish the books or whatever. Yeah. It's like the media is like the last thing people feel like they control. Like, oh, I don't like the new Star Wars. I'm going to boycott it or whatever. The new Ghostbusters is against my politics. Like the media is like the last thing people have a grip on, which has like larger consequences than themselves. And I don't know where I'm going. I just feel like this is the start of my think piece. Look forward to angrily tweeting about it in a week when I finish.
Coming soon on the Dump Hour.
That take. A hot dump.
Okay.
All right. Next question. Okay. I'm sorry. Just the names are not going to work tonight. Nadia is Isik Nadia on Twitter, ISIKNADIYE. Just pre-ordered Kingdom Hearts 3 after like 14 years, aka most of my adult life. Are any of you interested or excited?
Nope.
No. Damn, savage. Both of you at once, just immediately. Okay, nobody likes Kingdom Hearts except for me, huh?
I played like a couple hours of the first game and decided it wasn't for me.
You didn't like collecting sticks on a beach for 2 hours?
I don't even remember if that's what I remember being on a beach. I don't even remember what I did. Yeah. I wasn't into
it. Quitting the game, I think it was. Yeah.
I can't hear Johnny, so I'm going to assume he backs me up on this. That the first Kingdom Hearts starts with you collecting sticks on a beach for like a really long time, like an absurdly long time.
What I said, Austin.
Yeah.
Was that when Leon said, I don't remember what I did on that beach, I said, quitting the game.
Ah.
Yeah.
You're building a raft, I think. Anyway, I've played almost all the Kingdom Hearts games.
You're building a raft.
Damn right, to escape from you. What if we just got really antagonistic?
Next week on the Dump Hour.
Jesus.
I've talked a lot of shit about Kingdom Hearts over the years, right? It's very fun to dunk on because it almost ties into the last thing with lore. It has a lot of lore, but unlike things like Harry Potter where you can just tweet about poop or whatever, nobody understands Kingdom Hearts enough to make any of those kind of declarations. Everything has like 8 asterisks and like 12 more links. You have to go deeper. It's so much. It goes like wraps back around, right? Because it's all gibberish garbage, and so just whatever, right? And so I have a more nuanced take on lore, which is either very minimalist, as little lore as possible, or maximalist. I'm a lore accelerationist now. Have as much lore as you possibly can.
I must say that I've always enjoyed reading the books in the Elder Scrolls game.
Yes, exactly.
But that's like, the difference is that's in the game.
Yeah, if you want to take the time to learn all the Daedric lords or whatever, you can absolutely do that, but it also won't stop you from the main story, which is like, kill a dragon.
Exactly. You know, like, I don't have to alt-tab out and go to a wiki and, like, search and be like, who is Mehrunes Dagon?
I killed his ass.
You bet you did.
Man, we're gonna have to talk about the new Elder Scrolls when that comes out, huh? I feel like Bethesda done poisoned its whole brand real hard. That's another question entirely.
Yeah, they're definitely like walking around the party thinking they got away with a fart when everybody is like
everyone knows.
Everybody knows.
I've realized I've just like contradicted myself like 6 times on the lore point. It's
every single time,
I'm
sorry, but like every single time they put out a tweet that's like, we're rolling out the next Fallout 76 update, I'm like, I have to resist. I have to bite down on a strap of leather not to be like, when are you going to release the game?
Yeah. We said a lot about that game already. We don't need to go any more on that thing. New question. Rachel K at Rach Canati. Fucking hell, what is wrong with my mouth tonight? Rach Canati on Twitter asks, thoughts about Andy Samberg's thing at the Golden Globes? I saw this clip, although I did not watch the show. Do you guys know what this is referring to?
I watched most of the show. Andy Samberg said very quickly, the Black Panthers were framed and murdered by the government. Everything is terrible. We just know about it because of our phones now.
Yes.
I assume he's right, just because I live in the world.
Yes, he is. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I assume that like most of the people who would listen to our show and with our politics
watch
are
it.
vaguely
This is
aware.
news to me.
Wait, what?
I said I didn't watch the Golden Globes. This is news to me.
That he said this, or that it happened historically?
That he said this.
Oh, okay, yeah, I saw the clip on Twitter and I retweeted it and stuff. I did not watch the show itself.
I've been sick this week.
Yeah, the FBI is basically a terrorist organization, especially when it comes to civil rights, and has historically either destroyed the lives of or outright murdered its political opponents, most notably the Black Panthers. But, you know, there's a whole history of them doing shit like that. It's pretty bad. We talked a lot about, like, the America's history of basically destroying, like, especially black places. Like, I'm trying to think of a better way to put this.
The United States' history of leveraging governmental powers to undermine and destroy and outright kill minority groups who get uppity.
Yeah, I feel like there's this narrative. It's like, oh, there was slavery, it was bad, and then things were better. Or like, oh, there was the time in, there was the civil rights movement, and that got bad for a minute, and then it got better. And now it's like, oh, now Trump's here and racism's back. But like, no, it's just there came a point where people had to stop being openly awful. But for most of history, the government was pretty complicit in that. We've done like multiple genocides, so it's all very bad.
What is it, like, just last year, some fucking, like, study was released that was like, how did white supremacists manage to infiltrate law enforcement?
Yeah, that's... Yeah, There's no way we can get out of this conversation and not be sad, huh?
We can definitely change the subject. I mean, we are right.
Does that give you comfort, Leon, being right? It's all we have most of the time.
Being right about
terrible thing. I love waking up. I love waking up in the morning, opening my window, looking out into the world, and saying, "I'm so much better than all of you." No, no, no. I'm wrong a lot. That's why I'm constantly reading, so I'm less wrong. That's it. I'm not smart. I just read a lot.
Come on, you're smart.
Yeah. We can definitely jump into the next one though.
We can. The thing is, I've been scrolling through them as we've been talking, and so many of them are about the things we're trying to escape. Just a lot of them are just like about the speech that the bad man did, or about the shutdown that's happening. And like, not that these aren't important questions. It's just like we all come back to the same thing, which is like, oh, there's a nightmare ethno state bubbling under the surface of this country, and in many countries around the world, and it's bad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think we're going to look back on this period of history as like the rise of the ethno states doing genocide and getting away with it. Like there's no arguing with what America has become. It's wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and what's going on. Saudi Arabia is doing in Yemen, what Israel's doing in Palestine. Like, it's such a clear pattern that I think people are going to look back at this period of history and be like, yo, why didn't anyone do anything?
If in fact there are any people in
yeah, I guess that's optimistic. They're going to be rat cockroach hybrids, and honestly, more power to them. They're powerful and beautiful, and I love them. Please revive me if you find this recording, please.
I want to be beatified in the Hedgehog Empire.
Leon,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Giant statues of me in the Hedgehog Imperium. There we go.
Leon,
what?
thoughts?
On what?
It's your show. I don't know. I'm just hoping you're going to save me. I can ask these questions if you guys want to get into the specifics of how the world is terrible.
No, pick something dumb, and we'll end on that.
What's dumber than wrestling? Gavin Smith at Gavin O'Heat asks, has Leon watched Wrestle Kingdom 13? And if so, how do you like it?
Fuck yeah, I did.
Is that the Hulk Hogan thing?
No, Wrestle Kingdom is the New Japan Pro Wrestling thing.
Hulk Hogan's back though, right?
We can definitely talk about that too.
Okay, hit me with both.
I'll do the best. Wrestle Kingdom was the New Japan show we mentioned last week, where Kenny Omega came out to Undertale stuff. It was an interesting show for a couple of reasons. One is that usually, like, this is like the culmination. This is like their WrestleMania, their Super Bowl, and there's a lot of like big epic matches that go on for like 20, 30 minutes, and like it's like a big pay-per-view kind of thing. And that wasn't as true this time. A lot of the matches were sort of short, like under 10 minutes. That was surprising. So there weren't a lot of like epic encounters, except for like a couple really good ones. And that disappointed some people, including myself. But the big news coming out of it is that basically all of their big stars are, I shouldn't say all, a lot of their big stars are leaving, like on that night, basically. Their contracts end. They're leaving the company to go to a different company.
Okay.
All right, hang on. I don't. No, they're gonna sail off on the ship with Frodo.
I was a little worried we were going to get to a Heaven's Gate thing. So
no, they're moving. Here's the thing. A lot of the wrestlers in the company, Cody, who is the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, in case you don't follow wrestling but have heard of that old wrestler.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense to me now.
Yeah. Okay. The Young Bucks, who are like the best tag team in the world, Hangman Page, and probably Kenny Omega, they're all leaving that company to form their own. They're making their own wrestling company backed by a billionaire who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's called All Elite Wrestling. They just did a big press conference. A lot of big former WWE guys are going to be in it, like Chris Jericho and Neville, who goes by Pac now. And they have a lot of talent, and the interesting thing about that is, in addition to it being a big wrestling company that's going to compete with WWE in America, is that like there's these weird like progressive movements that are like happening in the company. Like on day one, like they're actually going to give their wrestlers health care, which is not a thing anywhere else. WWE does not do that. They don't even consider the people who wrestle for them employees in WWE.
Right. They're contractors, aren't they?
Mm-hmm, and that gives them the ability to deny them care. That is not going to be a thing in All Elite Wrestling. Apparently, there's also going to be a big push to pay the women more than they usually are paid. So that's cool. Basically, I'm looking forward to it. There's not a lot of details yet. Their first big show is going to be in May. So I'm excited about that. But the point is, at Wrestle Kingdom, because they were considering leaving the company and probably leaving the company, everyone who is rumored to be leaving that company on that night lost terribly, like on their way out. Like they had to job basically to other stars, which is not that strange to lose on your way out, but it felt like they were just kind of sending a message. So that happened. As for Hulk Hogan, he sucks and he's bad. He's a monster. I shouldn't say that, but he's not good. He's a racist. And before someone says, "Well, he's not really racist," he said it himself.
How could you say that? As Anderson Cooper said to Ocasio-Cortez, how could you say he's a racist?
Yeah.
What evidence? Except for the things he said and done.
Right, do you have any recordings or, like, possibly, personal testimonies or
I
anything?
love that rich people aren't racist unless they're actually wearing a KKK hood. That's the only test.
Right. And the thing about Hulk Hogan's racism...
Even then, they have to pull it off on camera and yell, "Surprise!"
Yeah.
The thing about Hulk Hogan's racism is that he's one of the few people who have been caught doing something racist while also saying, "I'm racist" during it, which is apparently for some people the only way to say someone is a racist. It's so bizarre that someone can just behave in a racist manner and do and say racist things and believe racist things and have it show up in their behavior. But unless they admit it, some people will not believe it, because a lot of people also are kind of racist, but they just don't believe that they are either.
Come on. He made a young indiscretion mistake. It's just young guys being guys making just mistakes.
Locker room talk.
Jesus.
Oh my
He's
God.
actually warped also our fucking laws. Like I've said this a million times before, but they teach that case in law school as like, I actually don't know what's even legal anymore, homies. Like, shit's wild out here. Apparently sometimes you can just do this.
You are talking about him shutting down
Gawker, yeah.
Yeah, Gawker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to get mad about free speech issues, I actually have one for you. Internet.
So anyway, what I went earlier in the like around the turn of the year, I was like, maybe I should watch WWE again in the new year. I've taken a couple months off from watching them. I watched the first Raw that's available to me, and it was the Raw where Hulk Hogan came back. And the way they did it was so shitty because they knew a lot of people were going to boo. So they brought him back to pay tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund, who recently died. But that wasn't really why they brought him back. That was just the excuse. Because on the same day that they brought him back, they started selling Hulkamania t-shirts again and started promoting that. So, no, this had nothing to do with respect. This had everything to do with, let's find a way we can bring Hulk Hogan back and people won't boo him out of the building. When they first, I watched the show, and when they first showed like a backstage segment of him walking to the ring, you could hear a lot of boos. And when he started walking to the ring, they do the thing where they're worried about boos, where they sort of like take the mics off the crowd,
turn the music up a little bit.
Yeah, they do a thing where you can't hear cheers either. So it's this weird like sound of just hearing the music and Hulk Hogan coming to the ring to no reaction, even though you can see the audience is having some kind of reaction with your eyeballs. And then he got in the ring and he started, talking about, the first thing he said was something about Mean Gene Okerlund, and you can't boo that. So the people were like stuck. So the people who were fine with Hulk Hogan being back cheered Hulk Hogan, and the people who would were not fine with being Hulk Hogan, with Hulk Hogan being back, were in a position where they couldn't say anything because it would be, uncouth. And so that WWE won, basically. They always do. They won. They brought back a racist. Nobody really wants him back, but except for the people who want to make money off of him. And that's what I have to say about that.
I like it how you say they brought back a racist, but like Brock Lesnar is still around.
I love how you said Lesnar, like that's how you pronounce his name.
Like I don't really care.
It's okay. It's Lesnar. I love that you said it like he's a Martian, but that's cool.
Yeah, that's it. Brock Lesnar. I come in racist.
I am Lesnar.
He's an orc. Lesnar the Destructor.
Jesus. Okay, we're running out of time, and I have to do a thing. Does anyone have anything to say right before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say, on one hand, I am thankful that no one, at least no one I see here, is taunting me over the Chicago Bears' embarrassing playoff loss. On the other hand, I feel like we have a relationship with our listeners where we have some of that light ribbing that goes on, and I was looking forward to a little bit of getting dunked on. That's kind of a thing we do. Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah.
I am Tosk.
You are Tosk. Anyway, the Bears lost, and it wasn't even like they were crushed. They had a really fluke play where the ball hit one upright and then the middle upright. It was very weird. Also, of all the teams to lose to, we lost to Big Dick Nick, who returning Super Bowl defending champion, who I was really excited about last year because he has a cool story, like his ascent from backup to starter is kind of miraculous. And I was like, oh yeah, I love Big Dick Nick. Isn't it funny how that's his nickname? And then he beat my team. So
I'm sorry, buddy.
This is football, right?
I'll talk to you guys next week.